Hello everyone, and especially thank you so much to all my subscribers, because we just hit the milestone of 100,000 subscribers on this channel. This has been such an amazing journey for myself, and I'm so grateful for all of you, for all your likes, your comments, your friendly messages. And what started as just a little side project a couple of years ago turned into a huge passion of mine. I love creating that content, and I love the feedback and all the interaction with that great badminton community all around the world. And I've never imagined that it would get that big. So thank you so much, and this is a really special moment for me. And with this video, I want to show my appreciation with, of course, answering your questions that I asked for in the latest video, but also with a huge giveaway where you can not only win 1, but 3 rackets, but more about that after getting to your questions. So I'd like to get started with questions about my own career as a coach and a player, because many of you were asking about when did I start it, how much did I train, and also on what level I was playing. And yeah, I started very early. The reasons my parents met because of badminton. They were both also playing, and yeah, that was the reason why I was always in the hall from a very young age on. And I started playing in a club at, I think, 5 years of age. Of course, in the beginning, not so much training, but it became more and more. And yeah, in my junior years, I think in the end, when I was under 17, under 19, I was practicing around 6-7 times a week. It's not that easy here in Germany, because we have a very strict school system that don't give you so much time around for training. But we are having more and more sports schools now that also allow training in the morning and the afternoon. And that makes it a little bit easier now. At my time, I had to work around some of these things to get a lot of training. And I was mainly playing doubles and mixed doubles in the end of my junior years. I was still practicing singles a bit, because I felt it helped me also moving on full court, and it was also an advantage in comparison to some other double and mixed double players. But my goal was to get to the national training center after my school, but they didn't take me. I tried it 2 times. I made a test week, but was declined, and that was a bit heartbreaking for me, but I still had that big dream of making it to the professional level, making it to the national center. But I was struggling because there was no partner at that time around that I could really practice with. And that makes it a bit tricky when you want to become a good doubles player. So I had a very supportive coach that time, Ron Daniels. I have to name him here because he definitely got me on track, also gave me a lot of belief in myself. And I decided to focus on singles. So that's maybe a little bit special story. Many times it's the other way around, that single players switch to doubles. For me, it was a bit the opposite. So yeah, I went all in on singles. I practiced even more. I try to get every minute I can to improve my movement on court, my singles. And yeah, after 2 years, I was lucky enough to get selected for the National Training Center in Saarbrücken, and was part of that training setup also for several years. Of course, I was dreaming of the very big events like Olympics, World Championships, and I was unfortunately not good enough in the end to play on that stage. I was mainly playing in Europe. I was around 200. My best world ranking was around 200 in the world. So yeah, in the beginning, I think I would have said that's not what I'm aiming for, and I would have been disappointed. But when I look back, I have to say I'm super happy for those years, for that journey, also for this very intense training 2 times per day, living the dream, living that professional life. Very demanding, also sometimes very tough, especially when you're not getting any results out of it. But yeah, as I said, looking back, it gave me so much in terms of not only badminton, but also in terms of development, personality. And I also found how much I love the sport. So when my time at the National Center in Saarbrücken came to an end, and when I came back here to finish my studies for becoming a teacher, I also realized that I want to have a lot of badminton in my life, even though I'm not maybe training full time. But yeah, that's when I decided that I want to become a coach. And also the question from Lovis Fischer, what would you be if not a trainer? This is a tricky one, because the long time I would have said that teaching or working with kids in a school is maybe the option number 2. But to be honest, I think I need a little bit more freedom or space to be creative, and I think the normal school setup, at least here in Germany, gives you so many rules and so many barriers to maybe develop new things. And this is something I enjoy a lot here in the badminton area. You have so much space and so much possibilities to improve things, to develop things, and also to be creative, like with this channel here, for example. So I think I would maybe do something more in maybe even a video editing direction or something very creative. But I have a hard time seeing me doing something without sports, because I feel every day when I'm not moving and when I'm standing still too long that I get very sad and very depressed a little bit. So it has to do something with sports and something where I can grow, where I can also help others grow. This is something I think I definitely want to do for the rest of my life. And this is also another question that came from Timmy Turtle. He sent 3 questions, but lastly, how long do you think you would continue to pursue your passion for badminton, both on the court and off the court? And I am pretty confident to say that I think I will follow that passion for the rest of my life, because also as a player, I'm hoping that I can still play a good level for several more years. And even when I feel that my body breaks a little bit down, then I hope I can still compete on a certain level, enjoy the game, because I still love getting on court so much. And also on the other side, working as a coach is something that I think I realized very early, that you will never reach a point where you know everything. There is always something to learn, always things where you can get better at, and also so many different areas like junior coaching, senior coaching, coach education. I just can't see a point where in my life where I say, okay, now I've seen it all and I want to stop. Confident to say that I will stick in the world of badminton for hopefully the rest of my life. So maybe last one out of that category, from Angelo Lotan. I would also be interested in tips for a long day of tournament, since you seem to be the expert in that area. Maybe you mean the video where I played 15 or 14 matches in 2 days, and I played a couple of these like national ranking tournaments where you have crazy amount of matches in 1 or 2 days. And I think the best tip I can give here is preparing well in terms of nutrition, and also understanding that you always have to get the energy back that you use in a match, and you have to use the breaks in between, and when they get short, also have the perfect food for these short breaks. So in those short breaks you need sugar that goes directly into your muscles, that can be transformed into energy very quickly. And so over the years I found out that, especially with the drinks, I try to always get some powders into the drinks that also contain sugar and also contain some salt or some minerals that also help you to keep the liquids in your body. Because earlier I was only drinking water, and those long tournament days, I was always cramping very, very early, especially when the weather was a little bit warmer, when these tournaments were in the summer. Also, these powders helped me to avoid that a little bit longer. Sometimes it still happened in the end, but I felt that the water that I was pouring in was just not running through. But I could hydrate myself a lot better. So maybe this is the biggest recommendation: nutrition, and especially finding something that you can put into your drink. I would also link something in the description below that I like to use, but I think there's plenty of stuff out there that's really help and useful in that area. So area number 2, there were also a lot of questions about material, and especially after the last video, many of you asked what racket, or I told you that I was playing the ArcSaber 11 Pro, but you were asking about the strings, many different things about that. Also, how often do you restring your racket as well, and how often do you use your rackets, and what are the monthly costs to maintain your racket? Another questions by Timmy Turtle. So I'm using the Yonex Aerobite, and I'm having around 12.5 kilos on the main strings and 13 kilos on the crosses. And I'm also stringing the rackets myself at the moment, Usually, I think a restring costs around 20 euros here in Germany when you give it to a shop or something. When I really practice a lot, what I'm unfortunately not doing right now, then I need around 1 racket per week. So 1 stringing per week. That if you would calculate that up, that would mean quite a lot of money. But most players that play with higher tension and they practice a lot, they also have maybe a certain deal, or they string their rackets themselves for some cheaper conditions. And for, I think, the hobby and intermediate player, I was interviewing Tim Willis at the German Open once again a couple of weeks ago, and I think his guideline was about to restring the racket 2 times per year. I always, of course, depending on how much you practice, how much you play, but when you are just playing on a regular basis but not too often, then I think 2 times per year is a good amount, because also when you play with lower tension, the string will not eventually break, but it will just lose tension. It will get softer and softer, and also decrease the feeling and the playing experience with it. So definitely makes sense to get a restring from time to time. And then also one more question by Nilu Kanwa. Can you recommend a racket for intermediate player? And I have to say I've tested quite a few rackets now, but only from Yonex. And I think, a super individual thing. Once again, it depends a lot on your playing style, your player type. And I think you don't have to spend so much money if you're not on a very high and professional level. That also middle class rackets that are a lot cheaper offer some very good performance. And just find a shop where you can try around a little and see what rackets fits you best or fits your game best. For me, the most important factors are you playing doubles or singles? And when you play doubles and mixed doubles, for example, then you need a lot of faster movements with shorter swings. So I would not go for the super heavy, head-heavy rackets, because there you get more power into your shots, but most likely you will also get in trouble at the front court or in flat exchanges. So try with some different weights, some different balances, also some stiffnesses of the racket, and find your own racket. Another question by Loy Nguyen, this time about the mental aspect of the game. So how to keep yourself calm, especially in important moments at game points. Very interesting question. I think many different facets, and I was struggling a lot in that area for more than a year, where I was almost every time losing those close situations. And then I had a very interesting moment with another coach who came from a different sport. He was watching badminton, and then it was, I think 1920 or something like that at a match. And he started to understand how the game works. And then he says, okay, I'm really jealous about you guys. You're really lucky with your sport. And I was asking, what do you mean? And he said, you are getting so much adrenaline at those situations on a very regular basis, and other people have to do something like skydiving or bungee jumping. And for me, that was a very, I think, incredible perspective on pressure and on these close situations. And that's also now always what I try to tell myself, that I'm very lucky that I get into those situations, and I want to embrace the moment, and I don't want to feel nervous, but I want to feel excited. And also during or over the years, I also realized the second big thing, that there's always another match. There is never a moment, or I never had the moment where I felt afterwards, okay, this was a once in a lifetime chance. There is another tournament, most likely next week, and you still have the chance to prove a point. Of course, when you are at the Olympics in a final, maybe a different story, but I think for most of us, we have to maybe change perspective sometimes in those close situations, maybe embrace the excitement, like I just said, and being happy that we always get these chances, we get into those close situations. And I think this is, I have to admit, a very cool aspect of the game that I now started to love. Maybe a little bit too late, but maybe for some of you this advice comes early enough to get a change of mindset in close situations. So next question by Daniel Park. How do you get better at being consistent in badminton? Sometimes I feel like I hit in the sweet spot well and I have powerful smashes. Other days I hit on the rim off the racket all the time and my shots are weak. What do you think could be the cause of this? I guess this is something we all have experienced at a certain level, and I think this is also where the pro players separate themselves from the not so good players, that they can handle these days a lot better. Everybody has these days. Like, it's not that Victor Axelsen always wakes up and he is in perfect shape and everything feels easy for him. At least I hope so, but I'm pretty sure. But he, I think, found a very good way to get out of these bad days, or at least make the best out of it. And maybe to get a specific advice, write down what you did when you felt really good on a tournament or a training session. Like, what did you eat before that? How was your sleep? What was the timing of the day? So many times you will also find out that there were certain patterns. Like, I found out that if I'm doing like really heavy weight training before the tournament, one day before, or even in the morning with very few reps, but to really activate the muscles in that way, that helped me a lot to have a better feeling, also have harder smashes. I think when I do that, I almost never have the problem that I mistime the shots or that I feel powerless. And maybe you can figure out something similar when you just write a training diary where you also, like I said, note what you did eat, how was your sleep, your regeneration, and all these little things around the training. Another question by Datu is who's GOAT for you, Lin Dan or Lee Chong-wei? Made videos about both of them, and there are some stats about their amazing careers. Incredible players, but to be honest, I have to go with Lin Dan. He's or always was one of my favorite player. Especially, I think, the Olympic final in Beijing in 2008. I haven't seen something like that since then, and before that, incredible match. So much speed, so much power. So much better than Lee Chong-wei in that match, and I think he was just a joy to watch. Also very interesting personality. So I go with Lin Dan here, but I also can totally understand everybody that roots for Lee Chong-wei. And I have to say, I think the best thing about Lin Dan was also that he was playing at the same time with Lee Chong-wei, and I enjoyed their rivalry so much. I think also a huge part why I'm such a big badminton fan now, because this was really special to witness those two greats for several years. Another interesting thing, also a little bit about the mental side, how to avoid mistakes like serving in the net, playing out, smashing in the net during a tournament or game. I think those are also many times the shots that decide matches, because you make too many of these easy mistakes. And I, for myself, when I play, or what I try to give as a guideline for my players, is that you, for example, do a receiving mistake. When you do that, make sure that this never happens twice in a row. That you have something in your head that says, okay, this happened now, but I will do something that I feel very confident or comfortable with, that will maybe not bring me a point, but I will make 100% sure that I'm not giving away such an easy point once again. And also with the example hitting a smash in the net, that you want to be maybe a bit more patient in the next rally. So having a reminder, something in your head that you will never do that twice in a row, these easy unnecessary mistakes. There were also a few questions from younger players. So like Tim here is asking how to get better as a young player. And I think one of the key things is that you should look always for challenges when you are a young player, or should look for an environment that is challenging you on a consistent basis. I think this is also the secret about all the good badminton countries in Asia, or also Denmark, that there is a lot of competition, that nothing comes easy to you. You always have to work hard, fight for your spots. And I think so that it's super important also to looking for these challenges. And if you're very young, I think that's the task of the parents, that they should help to bring you in such an environment. But when you get a little bit older, try out to look out for better players that you can play with. This is also very important when you look for what tournaments you want to play. And I think in Germany we have a new point system that is a little bit working like the world ranking system, but already junior players now are looking for tournaments where they can score the most amount of points. But yeah, in terms of development, and if you want to become really better, then the goal should always be tournaments that challenge you, where you have opponents maybe on the same level, maybe a little bit higher level even, and no matter how many points you will earn in your junior years, that should not be the priority. The priority should always be developing, getting better, and looking for challenges. So Sigurd Seiersen is asking, I'm considering going on a badminton camp in Malaysia or Indonesia for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Have you heard of those and what are your thoughts on going on a camp? I've not been to one of these camps in Malaysia or Indonesia. I trained a bit in Asia, and I think the first thing that comes to mind is if you have the chance, do it. I think especially for Europeans, you can get so much valuable experiences. There's just like seeing the culture there in Asia, training with so many most likely high-level players. A bit like we also with the young players goes also for older ones, look for an environment that challenges you. And I think if you go to Asia, that will definitely challenge you in many ways. Also the climate in many countries is very tricky to deal with, but also super valuable experience. And yeah, like I said, they have so many experienced coaches. They also have a very different approach to the game that I think is very valuable. And I would love to get to Asia more often, also for longer periods of time, because always when I was there, I learned so much. And yeah, I can just recommend to look for chances how you can also get there when you are from Europe or from any other continent where badminton is not that popular. So Private Beta is asking, I'm a player from Hungary who fell in love with badminton a couple of years ago. It's not a very well-known sport in our country. Not many people play it compared to other mainstream sports. How can we make this fantastic sport more popular? I think bit the same story in almost every European country. How do we make this sport popular? For me, the biggest key is showing it to as many people as possible and showing how amazing the sport is, how fast it is, how also incredibly hard it is to play on a high level, and try to give people the chance to watch it live. I think this makes a huge difference when you really sit next to a court, and it doesn't have to be the World Tour level. It just has to be two very experienced players that can move around well, that can play some hard attacking shots, and I guarantee you that many or most people will be impressed by the level, and they will not expect badminton to be such a competitive sport. So like I said, same story for probably every country except the Asian ones. We have to expose other people more often to badminton. And I think the main advice here, if you want to promote the sport, is start acting, like do something. It can make a difference if you want to make regular videos on your Instagram or TikTok channel, or if you want to start a YouTube account, or maybe start making an event in a mall close to you, setting up a court, showing people how amazing badminton is. I think we need people that just present our sport in a cool, in a exciting way, and we are really lacking that, and every person is super valuable who is doing that. And that's also what I did with this channel. I was a bit sad how unknown badminton is here in Germany, and how little material is out there on YouTube. Now it's getting a lot more, and I'm super happy about it. But yeah, at that time I just wanted to do something. I started to take action with this channel, and maybe you can also find a way to contribute in a similar way. And I just love everybody who shares the passion, and also to who wants to help to make the sport bigger and more popular also in countries where badminton is not that popular right now. So I think a great question to end the Q&A part, and now it's time to get to the giveaway. And in the last video I was talking about the ArcSaber 11 and the ArcSaber 11 Pro, and for many years the ArcSaber 11 was my go-to racket. I still love this racket so much. I had all my big successes with it. And on my Instagram channel, and for all my Patreons, very exclusively on my Patreon channel, you have the chance to win one of my beloved old ArcSaber 11. Still a fantastic racket. I will put new strings on it as well. And you can win one racket on Instagram and one racket on Patreon. For all details, check out both of those channels, and yeah, make sure to follow me there. So yeah, that's the first chance to win something. In addition to that, you also have a chance to win a brand new Yonex ArcSaber 11 Pro in combination with the perfectly matching tournament bag. So those two items can be won here on my YouTube channel. And everything you have to do to join the competition is subscribe to my channel, like this video, and then write down in the comments below what kind of content or what videos you would love to see in future formats here on my channel. So very easy to participate, and I want to also give a huge shout out to my sponsor Yonex, who supported me throughout all the years and who also sponsored that fantastic prize for the giveaway worth almost 300 euros. I will announce the lucky winners in 2 weeks here on my channel, so stay tuned and best of luck for the competition. Okay, so once again, thank you so much. I'm beyond grateful for everything that I've experienced throughout the last couple of years here on my channel. Thank you to each and every one of you for supporting me with your likes, your comments, your subscriptions now. And I also want to give a shout out to all the people who supported me creating the videos over the last couple of years. So of course there are the guest stars and players that joined me for some of the videos, but also every feeder, every cameraman and camera women who helped me to make the content. And I also have to name one person specifically, and that's Jonathan Holz. He, especially in the beginning, helped me to create high quality content. So if you see some videos with cool effects or that just look very professional, what is a bit unusual for my first videos, I have to admit, then it was probably his work. And yeah, he's amazing with the camera, with editing. I will also link his website and his contact below, because if you're looking for someone who can give your video projects amazing quality, if you're looking for help, he's just amazing. Check out his website, and as I said, you will find his contact information in the description below. So that's it for this very special video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for everything you did over the last couple of years, and I'm really looking forward to the future. Hopefully just getting started, as hyped as ever to create more content, to bring some quality content to you in the future, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next videos. Bye bye.